Austraeoh by Imploding Colon, read by Deathlight, Chapter 174, Speaks. When Rainbow Dash found Ember speak, it was upon a promontory overlooking a large cavern filled with rows of finely irrigated channels, between which several crops were being tended to by dutiful Sylvedalian farmers. Along the ceiling of this part of Sanctuary, Rainbow Dash saw what could only be described as glowing powder affixed to the rock structure above. She imagined it was some sort of bioluminescence providing an alternative to sunlight for the fragile plants below. It smelled crisp and clean, forming a stark contrast to the sour taste of the moment. Rainbow stopped a few paces behind Ember, gazing at her for a while. After a minute or two had passed, she eventually murmured, "Look, I'm really sorry for what happened back there. I mean, I know apologizing doesn't mean anything at this point, but, She fidgeted and gazed down at the farms of Sanctuary beyond the cliff. I should have been faster. I should have been like Sam Rose. I should have done harsher things to the dragon, and maybe, just maybe, he wouldn't have dragged Steel away like that." Ember Speak sighed, her flank to Rainbow Dash. "I screwed everything up pretty big just by coming here. If you guys haven't been playing babysitter with me, then who knows? You would have gotten home sooner or something, and Stu would have found his end one way or another." Ember muttered. Slowly, she turned around, her moist eyes gazing at the floor. "That's the kind of lives we subscribe to after all. We're part of the few entrusted with the surfacing." "The surfacing?" She gulped and faced Rainbow as she said, "Long ago, when we were little foals, we agreed that we commit our lives to scavenging the surface of the world for resources, tools, and surviving seedlings to make life more agreeable down here. We've also pledged all of our energy and fitness to ending the lives of the matriarch's broodlings. Stu knew what he's getting into. Ponies like us, we rarely live past the age of 25. Rainbow's face contorted in disgust. That's crazy! You decide upon this as a foal? How much of this is your decision and how much is the council's? We are heroes of our kind. Monuments are raised in our honor. When I die, I know whatever possessions might remain shall be buried in the same chamber as Sam Rose is himself. To be honored in the same light of royalty means more to me than I can put into words." But there's gotta be more than that. Poor Swirls, she's... They both knew the risks. Ember said, sniffed, and another tear rolled down her cheek. "It's their families that I feel bad for." "And what about yours?" Rainbow Dash said, it took every muscle in her body not to wince at having done so. Even when her life was an uneventful thing in Ponyville, she was never all that good at testing the waters. Thankfully, Ember Speak was a great deal tougher than Rainbow had anticipated. "All of Sanctuary is my family. Both my mother and father committed their lives to the servicing. It's by a slim miracle that I was even born." She managed a gentle, warm smile amongst her tears. "I was raised by the representatives of the council. I am more than happy to be pledging my lives to the descendants of our great empire. Even if it means not living past the next 5 years or so? Wouldn't you agree, Rainbow Dash, that there's a certain nobility to pushing yourself into pure and undescribable danger? Even at the cost of your own existence?" Rainbow opened her mouth to respond to that, but lingered. She sat down on her haunches, running a hoof lonesomely over her pendants. Ember squinted curiously at that. "All my life, I relish danger." Rainbow Dash murmured, her ruby eyes trailing the dead rock walls and the glowing fungus along the ceiling. Death was something to win in the face of, It always excited me, thrilled me, and on occasion bored me. But, I'm not a civilian. I wasn't born in a place like... She furrowed her brow. Just how could a pony be raised here? No sun, no moon, no trees? We have each other, and we have a future free of dragons to fight for. But you had to grow up scrimping on nothing! We've always had an abundance of hope, she said, sniffing with a smile. Rainbow stared at her for a few seconds. The worst thing that ever happened to Ponyville, my hometown, was a bunch of nasty bugs flying around and eating the wood off of buildings. Then, why'd you leave home? Rainbow opened her mouth, lingered, then said, because something happened, and I changed. And from then on, because of how I changed, I realized the world could be as fantastic as it wanted to be, but my life would only become worse. Fitting that you showed up here. No, this place is different. Rainbow Dash sighed and ran a hoof through her mane as she thought aloud. This place has always known worse, I think. I've only known you guys for 2 days, and already I realize how horribly out of place I am. We've just arrived, Rainbow Dash. Though I can't remember a time we've ever had a visitor, I'm sure we can help you along with your journey. Wait. Rainbow stood up, squinting at Ember as she spoke incredulously. You ponies know a way out of this place? Ember nodded quietly. How else would we have sent messengers to the far distant lands? But... Rainbow shook her head in confusion. Why in the heck are you guys staying? This place must be like a prison, with all those nasty pony torturing dragons overhead. So long as they're here, it's our job to get them out. You saw what happened to Stu. What if the dragons got a hold of his family, or Swirls, or your council, or your beloved prince? This place is our home, Rainbow Dash. We cannot leave. Ember speak. No offense, but your home died generations ago when the entire earth beneath it went to Tartarus. The dragons are too much for a bunch of surviving ponies, much less an army, much less a hoofful of alicorns. Why not just get a party going and send yourself and your neighbors on an exodus out of this place? Because as soon as I step into another country, I cease being civilian. Ember calmly defended. And I would have given up on what my parents and their forebears fought for. The dragons have ravaged this land. They do not deserve it. They will eventually lose it, even if I'm not the pony to take it back from them. Or the ponies after me, or the ponies after them. Rainbow Dash gaped at her. Slowly, she gulped and said, I wish yours was a loyalty I could understand. She bit her lip after saying that. Ember Speak noticed it, and she gazed at Rainbow's neck and said, You never take that off, do you? Huh? Your pendant with the jagged ruby symbol. No, I keep this on at all times. I think you're a good deal more loyal than you give yourself credit for. Ember said. She managed a brief smile, even if I can't really understand it. Rainbow gazed towards the floor, her nostrils flared as she muttered, I only wish it was all loyalty. Ember cocked her head curiously to the side. When Rainbow looked back at her, she said, If there's anything that I can do after all this. No, Ember inhaled sharply and gazed once more over the cliff. I'm fine, Rainbow. You and Sam Rose and the other ponies can discuss what help your wings could lend to Sanctuary if you like. No. Rainbow Dash trotted towards her. I don't mean that. I mean right now, with what you're going through. Ember Speak's features hardened. I don't need this. I'm stronger than this. I'm committed to the servicing and... Hey, listen. Rainbow hesitantly placed a gentle hoof on her shoulder. Part of being loyal means feeling it. She gulped. I only wish that I didn't realize it until it was too late. Emerspeak clenched her eyes shut. She buckled and planted a hoof over her eyes as her breathing came out in tiny, gasping sobs. She felt Rainbow's hoof sliding up her neck, and she leaned herself weakly against the Pegasus, sobbing into the blue coat of her shoulder. Rainbow said nothing. Her face was racially deadpan. She held Emerspeak as tightly as she could afford to, allowing the mare a chance to experience her bittersweet release. For several minutes, the two hovered there, with Emerspeak's hyperventilation calming down, until the hushed silence was punctuated by several equine forms, young and old, gathering around the adjoining tunnels beyond the cliff. Rainbow Dash looked up and seen several civilians staring at her mane, at her wings. She took a deep breath and spoke over Ember's shoulder. Look, I know you ponies have a bunch of questions, but right now is not a good time. They stood there, silently gawking at her, their eyes full of awe and wonder. Rainbow frowned a bit. Hey, I mean it! Buzz off! She gestured towards Ember. Can't you see that she's... No, Rainbow. Ember whispered in a shuddering breath. She leaned back, wiped her eyes dry, and smiled. You should speak to them. I'm sure that there are many things that you and the ponies of Sanctuary can learn from each other. But... Thank you for everything, Ember said and patted Rainbow's shoulder. I mean it. You're a blessing. I'm not sure of that yet. Trust me, you have so much to give just by being here. You're like a piece of the sky that none of us have ever seen. Rainbow Dash blinked curiously at that. Go on, Ember said, nuzzling her towards the group. I'll be here. I'll always be here, she said with a gentle expression. Rainbow nodded as she hesitantly trotted towards the curious lot. Of that, I have no doubt. The ponies backed up, forming a crescent shape of curiosity around Rainbow Dash as she trotted into the adjoining corridor. Hey, is it true that you can fly? What are those things on your sides? I've never seen a bat with those things on their wings. Is your mane real? What's that on your neck? Are you a Pegasus? And not that again. She can talk. Of course she can talk. She's a pony, isn't she? If so, she's from a place far away. Are there dragons where you come from? Are all ponies as colorful as you? Hey, one at a time, ponies! Rainbow Dash exclaimed, suddenly drowning in a thick group of equines. One at a time. I'm only one mare, no matter how many colors are in my hair. From afar, Emerspeak watched the scene, exhaling peacefully as she hugged herself and smiled.